Hi, welcome to another episode of Flippin' Rich. My name is Julie Muse, and this is Peter Vexelman. So, today I want to talk about something that I think is really important. Like, obviously, we are real estate investors, right? Yep. But I think it's important to talk about what's the best investment that we've ever made, right, Peter? So, like, in all the years, you've been in real estate business for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. You've just since I've known you, you've invested in the food industry. I've seen you invest in an individual in the food industry. I've seen you invest in cryptocurrencies. I've saw you invest in e-commerce, real estate, from buying holes to creative financing to fix and flips to wholesale deals to investing in other businesses, right? So I think you have a pretty good idea of what good investments are. Tell me, in all of these years and in all the investments that you've ever made, and excuse me if I've missed a few investments that you made, I'm sure I have. What do you think is the biggest investment that had the most, that you could see the biggest returns in, like of all of that?
Well, there's no question. And by the way, this is true for anybody, even for people that don't understand it or don't believe it or don't think about it. But the ultimate investment is into yourself. You know, that is the biggest investment you're ever going to make. That is the most important investment you're going to make. That is the most secure investment you're going to make because you're 100% in charge of it and in control of it. And the bottom line is, you kind of don't even want to say this, but it's reality. If you don't invest in yourself, who is going to invest in you? And let's face it, you're never going to get to those next levels without other people believing in you, with other people investing. And I'm not just talking about financially. I mean, obviously that's the thing that comes to mind. But if you want people to invest time into you, if you want people to invest money into you, if you want people to invest resources into you, and in any shape or form, you're giving up the vibe that, well, I don't, which is what you're telling people when you don't invest yourself. I don't believe in myself. That's one quick way to lose all the credibility in the marketplace.
So like, tell me some ways that I could invest in myself, because I don't think, like, when you're first getting started investing, and I know in real estate or in anything else, that's the last thing people invest their money into, right? Is usually you want to invest, you're thinking, I want to invest in things that are going to make me money, so I'm going to invest my money in this, I'm going to invest my money in this, I'm going to invest my money in this. Why do you think it's so hard for people to understand that investing in themselves is the number one investment in their life?
The reality of it is whether it's a conscious or subconscious thing, most people don't believe in themselves. Yeah. They just don't believe in themselves. And so, let's face it, let's just take you out of it. Let's say an object, let's say a house, right? Let's say you believe the house is going to collapse, it's condemned, it needs too much work, it's not worth putting money into, the numbers don't work. If you don't believe in that, you're not going to invest in it. Well, I think ultimately the reason people have such hard time in terms of investing in themselves, somewhere along the line, a lot of people lose faith in themselves. Again, same thing. They get beat up. They experience failure. They experience rejection.
And it could even come down to, like, somebody's childhood.
Yeah.
As a parent, I didn't do a perfect job, and I wasn't completely motivating my child like I should, or for them to believe in yourself. A lot of this stems from your childhood. Wouldn't you agree?
100%. It's where it starts, a lot of it. And so, when that starts at that level, and then it progresses, and then you do have some failures, and then you do have some, jobs firing you, and then you do have some bad grades, and it piles up, and then all of a sudden, it's time to level up. It's time to stand up. And just like you want to invest in a house that doesn't make sense, to most people, they themselves stop making sense. And so that's a very, and here's the other thing, Julie, and I see this all the time. It's an inanimate investment. You don't see it, right? When you're putting money into yourself, again, see house, buy house, do something with the house, sell house.
It's
tangible, see it, feel it, touch it. When you're investing money yourself, it's not tangible at all. It's not tangible at all. So to a certain degree, and I've heard people say this, it's like throwing money out. It's like throwing money out. But the investment in yourself has to be there. Even, this is the other thing people think, well, I'm only capable of doing so much. By the way, I agree with that philosophy. You hear me talk about it all the time. I know. Even if you invest money into yourself, you are still going to have limitations. We're only so smart. We're only so capable. We only have certain skill sets. But I do believe that the investment in yourself teaches you that in order for anything to grow around you, you have to keep on investing. And if you kind of let yourself, it's like saying, I'm a tree and I hope my branches grow, but you know what? I'm not gonna feed my roots. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. So the example you set of why people around you, the team around you, the employees around you, the coworkers around you, by believing in yourself, by putting money in yourself, by putting time in yourself, if nothing else, it's a huge example setter.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people are at a point, because I've been here, I'm not exempt from these feelings whatsoever. Right. At some point in your life when you failed or other people don't believe in you, at some point you've got to stand up for yourself and say, I'm worth it. I'm worth it. I'm ready to invest in myself. And that could be in like maybe, let's say, a trainer at the gym. That could be, somebody like going to a seminar, a motivational seminar. What's funny is as far as you ever think that you are, I don't think anybody ever gets too successful to always work on themselves. Right?
Well, it's opposite. If you think about it, the more successful people are, the more they invest into themselves.
It's funny that you say that, because I was saying this thing the other day. So I'm friends with a lot of real estate investors, some guys that do, and ladies and gentlemen that do like some big things in real estate. And I said to Peter, I said, how do these people have so much time to go to an event every month? And now that I think about it, that's an awful thing for me to say.
Answer your own question.
Yeah. So, because they know they have to continuously be fed, right? You're right. It's like a tree or like a plant. If it's not getting the nutrients it needs, if it's not getting the water that it needs on a daily basis, it's never going to grow.
Well, think about this. I always use these examples of athletes because those are the most public figures we all have that are, we could kind of see from the outside looking in. The more successful an athlete is, have you ever heard a successful athlete say, well, I guess I got into this level, so now I'm not going to show up at practice. I'm not going to do, no, the more successful, like I heard this thing that LeBron James, like the most successful basketball player in the world, at his level, right? At his level, I can't remember, spends almost $4 million a year on his body. I was like, what? Like, the guy's already got a perfect body. He's already at the top of the game. But here's the person that none of us spend that kind of money into ourselves. You know what I mean? So this is another way to look at this. It's like an insurance policy. When you're putting money into yourself, when you're leveling up, when you're studying more and doing more, it's an insurance policy against failure, right? Because there's always the newest thing. There's always the more exciting thing. There's always that thing you don't know unless you're kind of at the forefront. And the only way you're going to be at the forefront of your industry, of your peers, is that constant, earning for money and that for knowledge into your, here's something else that a pet peeve of mine. Isn't that funny how many people think, like, yeah, I'm willing to invest myself, but, like, not money.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to spend money on myself. Wait, do you spend money on groceries? Yes. You spend money on your house? Yes. Spend money on your car? Yes. Spend money on your kids' education? Yes. Spend money. Why do you all of a sudden think that, like, on yourself it should be free? You know what I mean?
No, and like, when I think of that, like, if someone will say, well, help me for free, and then you'll get rewarded in the profits that I make. It's like, I get that mentality. But people that, if you do not have skin in the game in things, you do not give it the attention that it deserves. And if you're not going to give it the attention that it deserves, why would I want to give it the attention that it deserves? And putting skin in the game is different for different people. Right? That's not even always money. Like, obviously, we run a program or a partnership where we work with people across America. We give them the technology. We give them daily training. We give them our back office support. We also provide all of the funding for the deals and split profits. Right? So there is a cost to get involved with that because there's a cost associated with running our business. Our goal is to do deals with others. But there's might be people out here like you that are like, you know what, I don't even have enough money to get into something like that, or maybe a mentor in my area. There are ways for you to pay for something that is not like literally getting dollar bills out of my pocket. And I also think it's not even just in real estate, right? Mm-hmm. Like you could, if you want to know something, if you want to be around somebody that's successful in different ways, go help those people, mm-hmm. right? You know, like if you want to be in real estate, but you want to learn how to network more.
Yep.
Well, go to the top networking individual and go learn from them.
No question.
I mean, people love those types. It's just very, very rare for someone to give their time and give it everything that they got. Mm. And when you've got that person, then they are worth their weight in gold. I mean, and I could think of one individual, I'm not going to mention his name right now, but he's far surpassed almost anybody that I know that got into this business and paid money for it. Because what he did is he was 100% committed.
Yep.
100% coachable, 100% a good PMA, a good positive mental attitude.
Yep.
Over and over and over again. So I think like the advice that I'm hearing from you, Peter, is the best investment that you can make,
bar none,
is in yourself. So, and a few ways to do that, like you mentioned, are
put time. Mm-hmm. Right, you can exchange time for to help someone out. You can go work for them for free. You can go work yourself. You know, people say I can't afford it. Well, go get a side job. Mm-hmm. You know, until you can afford it. And here's the other thing is, well, and you said it, and so this is the only kind of caveat I put to it. Maybe the person who's absolutely at the top in your industry, you can't start out with. Mm-mm. You know, the bottom line is you just got to start with somebody ahead of you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's a smaller investment than starting with somebody 60 miles ahead of you.
Yeah, and you may actually learn more from that person because they're closer to where you are right now.
More relatable.
Yeah. Well, we hope you enjoyed this session of Flippin' Rich. And all like you said, the greatest investment is the investment that you make in yourself.